What's up, people? Welcome to week 11 here at GTC. I hope you're getting pretty excited. This is the end of you completing essay 2, which means that you only have one more essay to be doing next. So y'all are like 2/3 of the way through this course. There's only 16, 10, 16 weeks, and we're through week 11. So going into week 12. So there's like 4 more weeks. I mean, that's not a lot of time at all. I hope that you have been reading your novel and that you are finished with your novel because you will be writing about your novel for for the next essay 3, which there's no rest for the wicked. Ooh, the wicked. I'm recording this on actually St. Patty's Day, and so the little leprechauns, the little troublemakers are out there, and they're making trouble for you because there is no real break from as soon as you finish essay 2, we're gonna go straight into talking about essay 3. There's no little buffer. There's no buffer zone. Like with unit 1, we spent some weeks reading some short stories, and then we went into the essay. And then for the poetry unit, we spent a few weeks reading some poems before getting you straight into the poems that you're gonna be writing your essay about. But the next unit is writing about a novel, and so we're not gonna read a novel to talk about it theoretically and then have you write about your novel. We're going straight into your analysis of your novel. Okay. So once you submit your paper, enjoy your few days off because then we're going to get straight into talking about essay 3. Okay. This week, I'm going to go to. Can I talk? You were supposed to have written a rough draft, which should be like your as close to a final draft as you can get. And then this week, based upon our list of things I'm going to be discussing, I'm going to be going over good and not so good essay 1 examples. Okay. So that way, the things I talk about and point out in these essays, you can see if you're making the same mistakes in your current essay, and then you can try to edit it and make sure that it is on track. Okay, on point. I'm gonna also show you an A example of essay 2, and you can compare what you have written to the example that I'm going to post and see that the things that you've done are things that person did. And so if that person made an A doing all this stuff and you did all the same stuff as well, then you can feel better about maybe making an A. Because the important thing about making an A on essay 2 is that if you did not make an A on essay 1, then if you make an A or at least just a higher grade on essay 2, then I will change your grade from essay 1. As long as you actually turned in essay 1. If you got a 0 for essay 1, I am not replacing a 0 with the grade for essay 2. If you turn in your essay 1 late and you got a 70, then I'm not replacing that grade either. Okay. In order to have had the grade replacement advantage, you had to have turned in the essay on time by the time I got around to grading them. Okay. I want to be very clear about that. Okay. So the things I'm going to be discussing this week are in the week 11 folder. Here I'll be going over, first I'm going to go over examples of D A essay 1s. Then I'll be showing you a sample A quality essay 2. Not necessarily a 100, because even going through I might find an error, but overall, it's A quality. And then this is where you will submit essay 2. Okay. So let's look at some examples of essay 1. Let's see. Let's go over an A paper first. Okay. All right. So this is oh wait, no, that's essay 2. Donna, we're not talking about you yet. Donna. Oh, I closed those. Hold on. Pause 1 second, y'all. Okay. So here is essay 1, an A paper written by Mr. Patch Adams. I don't really know if that's Patch Adams, but I'm just going to guess that it is. Some of you might have no idea who Patch Adams is. Others might. Okay. So some reasons why this is an A. Well, first off, I'm going to select all, and then I'm going to go up here to paragraph. I'm going to check the paragraph. Okay. See how this is a 0, 0 double? Okay, that's great. That means that it's all in conformity, all the same throughout the whole essay. It has proper spacing. This is double, this is 0, and this is 0. Okay. Sometimes you come across people, I'll come across essays that they're like this. Their heading's too big. I can immediately see it, and I know it's incorrect. Okay, and they'll say things like, "No, but my lines are double spaced. They're 0, 0. Look, highlight 0, 0 double. Yeah." And I'm like, okay, sure, your body paragraphs are fine, but there is too much spacing here. And when I highlight all of it, and I go here, I see that this is blank. That's a problem. That means that it's not all consistent. I know that because I just changed that. But that is a common thing I notice. Okay. All right. This is in its proper place. I know that because I can't just click on it and my cursor there. It's actually in the header. I have to double click it. And then when I click on the last name, this is highlighted, which tells me that those have been inserted, not just written. If they were just written, like typed, then it wouldn't change every page. It would be the same. Okay, close that. The side, see this right here? This is justified. Okay, that's the alignment that this needs to be. A lot of people's their paragraphs are aligned left, probably because that's how they were taught in high school. Okay, but see how this is very unattractive. This is aesthetically unpleasing. This jagged ridge right here, jagged ridge first, like this paragraph, which is so justified. I'll go straight to the end. It looks like pages in a book. Beautiful. Okay. So we're gonna refix that. Okay. All right. Now let's look at some of the writing. Okay. I'm drawn immediately to the title of the short story, The Story of an Hour. Look, it's in quotation marks, comma. It's inside the quotation marks. It's great. Punctuation should go inside. Okay. So that's correct. That's correct. That is correct. Let's read this paragraph. Miss Mallard is sitting in her chair with a view of many trees blooming in the spring and smelling fresh rain in the air. This is the moment she begins to cry following the news of her husband's death. Although it may not be the reason that first comes to mind, it is explaining how young she is while still having life experience. She feels it creeping into her until it hits her. She's free. She goes through the Petit Mort, thinking about having her freedom back. While she was married, she lived in her husband's shadow and couldn't do what she wanted. She had to live for him until now. For the remainder of her life, she is able to live for herself. Bolivar explains that once two people get married, it becomes very similar to being in the military, where, quote, the woman falls under the husband's guardianship and administration, end quote, 110, which is true for so many women. Okay, so what makes this writing really good is that this quote is truly integrated into a sentence. Okay, it is much harder to use a quote like this, where you don't, if you were just listening to this, you wouldn't even know it was a quote. It just feels that much part of the sentence. Okay, it comes in the very middle of an original sentence, and then that original sentence picks right up and continues. This is the much more of a difficult and experienced way of writing using a quote. All right, and this is the level that I want all of you to be at. I much more prefer this than the author states. She writes when she says in this quote. All right, that's like a little bit more simple, and this is a little bit more evolved. Okay, and so this is a strong writing ability to be able to integrate the quote into a sentence to the point where it's almost like seamless. Okay. Then we have another quote here. Bolivar states, even when she is more emancipated, the economic advantage held by males forces her to prefer marriage over a career. Okay, so look, here's an error. Look, there's no quotation mark. Which is why I'm not saying that this paper is perfect as 100, but it's a quality. It's a quality. Okay. I mean, this was demonstrated. Clearly, this person, Adams, knows that in quotation marks go in the end of the quote because she has it there. But here, this was just a typing error. So this is not like a lacking of knowledge. It was just a careless mistake. Okay. Okay, we have these nice complete sentences. This story shows how women should be able to be equal to men while married instead of being behind their husbands. This is part of her analysis, explaining the interpretation of the story. So that's a higher level of thinking. All right, these paragraphs are lengthy, which is nice. So this is a quality. Let's look at the works cited page. Kate Chopin. Okay, we have Contreras Deb at 2 minutes reading of Kate Chopin's story, an hour. Okay, there we have the hanging indent. The first line of the works cited of the citation is all the way to the left, while the second line is indented. Good. So this is a nice piece of writing. Okay, it's a total of, it's just over 1,000 words. It's not that many. Okay, but it's quality over quantity, definitely. Okay, let's move on to a not so good essay. This is essay 2. I'm sorry, a C. This is a C. Okay. All right. So if you notice here, there's too much space between the header and the title. Okay. So there's too much space here. This is not justified. Okay, you can notice right here it's all jaggedy. It is to the left. Okay. Here, when we have quotation marks, periods go inside of quotation marks. So this is incorrect. It should be quotation mark, waiter, period, quotation mark. Here, the parenthetical citations, they go inside of the period, which there's a period here for some reason. But this period should have been, that period should have been deleted. And this Burton is there. And then we do not, I see this frequently, we do not put paragraph numbers. Okay. No putting paragraph 1, paragraph 2, whatever. Okay. Just if you don't know the page, if there's no page numbers, you just put the last name and then in parentheses. Do not put paragraph 1. Okay. So this should have been consequences of making a choice, quotation mark, space, parentheses, Burton, parentheses, period. Okay. Same thing here. Okay. Death is the only way for her to break free from having to pretend to be just a wife, as quote marriage chains her to a man. Blah blah blah. Okay, so this is actually a great way to integrate this quote. The one problem here is that this marriage, this M didn't need to be capitalized. It should be lowercase. Okay, we just capitalize if we have if the quote comes after a comma. If there is no comma before the quote, then you don't capitalize. You actually lowercase the letter. All right. So this would be a lowercase m. Marriage chains her to a man and makes her mistress of a home. All right. But this is correct right here. This looks good. Now there needs to be a space between Miss period and Mallard. There should be some breathing room there. So that was incorrect right here. Again, this needs to be a period after the waiter and then quotation mark after the period. And this quote being integrated into here needs to be, this first letter needs to be lowercase t because there's no comma here. And then another problem that I didn't really mark up or anything before, but what is problematic, let's see, can I use this? Ooh, okay. Let's see. Oops. This less powerful. That should be those quotation marks, because we have a quote and then we have another quote inside of that quote. These should be single quotation marks. Okay, not double. Single. Because it's a quote within a quote. All right. All right, Paint. I don't need that anymore. Thanks. Don't save. No. All right. So this right here, comma should be inside the quotation mark. All right. Okay. So those are the main reasons why this essay was a C. It just had too many errors. Oh, the works cited page. There's no hanging indent. This indent, these lines need to be pushed over so that they come about 1 inch over, like here. All right. Same thing with here. This should be all the way to the left, but then these pieces need to be pushed over 1 inch. Same thing here. So that's the problem. The works cited page is not correct. It is not a hanging indent like it should be, like this one. See? Okay. So it needs to have correct format. Yeah, like all those are wrong. Okay. All right. So that's a C paper. Then I did provide, let's see. Oh, right, here it is. This is the D paper. And there's a lot more. I mean, it's turned in, so you got the person got some grade. But again, formatting's incorrect. Let's see, what did I say about the about this? There are many things wrong with this introduction. I said it's too short. Do not write in first person. We do not read these stories in class. So that's a problem. Right here, symbolism. Okay. I is bad, and a wall of fire rising, the yellow wallpaper, and lottery. Okay. So like, if you turn in a poetry essay, but about different poems, you're not gonna get a good grade. Okay, so I'll tell you that. You gotta write about the things that you've been assigned to write. Okay, and you gotta do it correctly. So you can read through. I posted this. You can read through this and figure out what it is that I crossed out. This works cited page is problematic because it's not double spaced as it should be. It needs to be double spaced. Okay. Okay. So let's look at, though, a example for essay 2. Okay. Donna Smith does everything correct. She's not a real person. It's her name. This does everything correct in essay 2. All right. We have the last name, capital letters in the top right-hand corner with page numbers. If we do a select all and go to paragraph, look, it's universal, 0, 0, double. Perfect. We scroll down. This can be seen in these pose pieces through the symbolism of Moon Song, the feminist messages of a woman speaks, and the overall theme of Phenomenal Woman. Here we have laid out in our thesis statement what she's going to talk about. She's discussing symbolism and the poem, feminist messages, and the poem. So we know exactly what she'll be talking about in her essay. Okay. Moon Song. In Moon Song, which is in quotation marks, stanza 1 represents the objectifying nature of society towards women and the expectations of women to conform to a specific role. There's her claim. I discussed that in essay 2. I'm going to be really focused on claim, support, and then analysis. Okay. So let's do some highlighting here. This is her claim. Then we have in her book, Being Yourself, Essays on Identity, Action, and Social Life, Diana Myers discusses the effects social standards have on individuality. Myers professes, quote, people are thought to be autonomous only when they are free of social influence. Okay. That right there is, this right here is clearly a source. So we're gonna do the screen. Okay. This is a book, and books are in italics, which is great. That's absolutely correct. We have the author, and then we have the quote introduced with a verb. Myers professes. The rule is, if you introduce a quote with a verb, you gotta have a comma. Boom, there's the comma. Okay. Next, we have, this means that when an individual separates oneself from society's norms, it allows the freedom to choose one's path and perform roles outside the expected. This is what we call analysis. So we have a claim, we have some support, we have analysis. In Moon Song, the sun and moon symbolize the fact that women do not have to select just one identity, and they can choose not to adhere to social stereotypes. If the writer chooses one thing over another, she will be accepting today's fate, our society's fate, for her by simplifying her worth down to a single cause. Okay, that's analysis. That's also analysis. As Bear argues later that you do not have to choose one or the other, or dream or a dreamer, the bird or a birder, because you can be the sun and the moon. The dance is a victory song. These lines within this poem help provide an image that encourages women to be their own persona, not to settle, and to live their own life free of society's hold. Okay, that's more analysis. This is actually support. Okay, and actually, this person needs to get rid of as. Instead, it says, Bear argues later that you do not. Okay, because there we go. The as makes it sound like there's more to come, and so that would be problematic. All right, so that's this paragraph. We have a good amount. We have a claim, one claim, and then we have support, and then we have analysis and analysis. Perfect. That's exactly right. That's great. Okay. Same thing with this one. The second poem, A Woman Speaks, focuses on how women, specifically Black women, have a powerful and necessary voice in the feminist movement. Boom. That's the claim. Then we have within the article, Globalizing Democracy, Globalizing Movements. Catherine Eschel discusses the importance of total unity among women. She goes on to say, women's collective actions give order, blah, 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 blah. Okay. This here is some support, okay? Now here we have an article. Up here we had a book, and it was in italics. Now we have an article, and it's in quotation marks. Absolutely correct. Look, obviously this person who's writing this is sticking to a formula, okay? And both paragraphs are very similar. But you know what? This is an academic paper. Who cares? This is not about trying to sound like Mr. or Mrs. Literary scholar, okay? You are not. This is not a professional writing class. I'm not teaching you about how to write in the real world. This is about academic essays. Point of this class is so that way when you go into your sociology courses, your psychology classes, your history classes, your philosophy classes, and you're asked to write a paper analyzing, movements in history or time or art, that you can do so in a collegiate way. So like this format that she's continually doing works because it's a collegiate essay. Look right here. We have the poem, Phenomenal Woman, dials in on the importance of self-acceptance and love through confidence and mental strength. That is a clear claim. That's a claim. And then guess what she follows it up with? In the self-help text, Authentic Self-Love, A Path to Healing in the Self and Relationships, this person proclaims, and then we have whatever. It is the same repetitive structure. And then we have Ira believes it. Okay, so now we have analysis. So it's the same formula for every paragraph that this person is using, which is great for college paper. Okay, it's not great to be as a professional writer. It could be seen as too boring, too formulaic, too whatever. But your job as a college paper writer is not necessarily to be entertaining, but it is to be clear and specific and communicates well and demonstrates your ability to think about the subject. Okay, and so if you find a formula that works for you, then do it. Okay. This overall is an A paper. Yeah, there are some problems at times. Like I think right here in the self-help text, I'll be interested to know if this is actually an article or if this is a book. Because if it's a book, it could be italics, not quotation marks. It's not sure. I don't know. So, all right. So I posted this. You can read this. Look, the works cited page is great. It's in alphabetical order. Okay, it has the hanging indent like I discussed, requiring. All right, everything's there. Everything's done correctly. Doesn't have to like woo me or be overly original. All right, it just needs to be structured correctly, and it needs to be organized well. All right, that's really what I'm looking for. So I hope that you review these, that you look over these, you learn from these, you do some comparison contrast between what you've done and the examples I've shown you, and you try to find any of the errors that maybe you made, and to ensure that you get a good grade. Okay. If you have any questions, send me an email and I'll be around to help you out. Okay. All right. Peace.